buy it from. The biggest problem with it is it's hard to hear. The static noise is so loud that hearing the responses is difficult. And I spent years listening to it and realized, oh my gosh, they are actually answering my question. Now, somebody on the skeptical side is going to say you're just picking up radio waves, or you're picking up ham radio, you're picking up some sort of other radio frequency that's making you think you got an answer. Well, unless people are using my first and last name, asking me questions that nobody else is aware of, and these things come through for us all the time, I can tell you without a doubt, these things do work. In fact, I've built many myself, including one we call the Evox, that has had just unbelievable response to it, and we've used it everywhere from ghost hunting to personal residential people asking questions about past loved ones to even true crime cases, and it has worked phenomenal.
Well, see, that's the difference, because the people I associated with that had those ghost boxes would sit there and demo them to me, for example, and it's stopping on announcer's voice or a commercial, and they say, see, here's the answer right there. And I'm going, well, no, that's part of an advertisement on a radio station. See, there's a difference, okay? And that's where there's a lot of people out there, how can I say it, don't understand how things work. Now, the white noise and then between the frequencies, I can buy that. I just don't buy where it stops when, like on my show, for example, and I say a word. Oh, there's your answer. I don't buy that part, okay? That part, I just get a gut feeling I don't like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I completely agree with you. And anytime we hear people advertising, because there are a lot of builders out there, and there's some really good ones, don't get me wrong. But when you hear somebody do a demo and you can clearly hear a second or two of some song or a radio commercial, that's when, Cherie and I say to ourselves, okay, that one's not working correctly.
Let me throw one thing. I think one time you did a session, Spirit Box session, and then you didn't ask a question, you did ask a question and you show what you're holding.
And they answered.
And they answered, that's a knife.
Yeah, I was holding a knife, and they clearly said, that's a knife. Now again, could that have been, just a radio? It could have been. But then I started writing words on paper, and I wouldn't say what I wrote. I would just hold it up. Mm-hmm. And what was there, 3 or 4 words I wrote out? They answered every single one.
And then you asked, can you say elephant?
Oh, yeah. And then I would say a word and ask them to repeat it, and they would. And then, we live in Phoenix, Arizona, and there's not a Tagalog radio station anywhere near here. Yes. And we were asking questions, and Cherie was getting responses in Tagalog.
See, that's the difference. How can I say it? I've been doing commercial broadcasting since 1976, talk radio. And I have had, I will say this, you guys are great guests. You had great encounters, which I believe 100%. What I also have had is guests on my show that basically they lied to get on the show in the past. And then you start interviewing them, and then you ask, well, how many ghost hunts you been on? 1. Okay, you've been on 1. Yes, we did 1 at a house, and we charged him $800. And I'm starting to go, now my hair, what little I have, is standing up. And then I said, well, what do you plan to do with your group of ghost hunters? We want to get a cable show.
Good luck.
And you know what? That's so funny, Gary, because that's probably, that mindset of beginning ghost hunters is probably the most frustrating thing within the paranormal community today, because the shift is no longer, and it's sad because this isn't where the shift should be. The shift should be about finding answers or somehow being able to achieve answers within the paranormal. But the input and the goals of the younger ones coming in is that, they want popularity. They want a TV show. They want they want stardom and fame from it. And That's the completely wrong reasons to be anywhere involved in this field.
Well, I have the same thing in my field. I was in commercial broadcasting since 1976. Then 10 years ago, and now it's actually 12 years ago, I was retired. And a friend of mine who's no longer with us, Art Bell, called me up and says, you need to get back on the radio. I said, I don't want to do commercial radio anymore. I'm retired. No, get on the internet. But you know what I find? The same thing in what I do. There is so many people that go down to Walmart, buy a $14 microphone, plug it in their computer, and now they're a talk show host doing, it's something in the paranormal, talking about UFOs or poltergeists or something like that. And I cringe. I really cringe. And then they think they're good. I've had a couple of them that befriended me and wanted to be on my show with me and all this stuff. What they wanted to do is they wanted their own show. Like, how do I get on radio stations? Well, you're not going to get on radio stations unless you've been doing it for a long time. You're good. You have connections. It isn't going to happen. Just do it as fun. Now, like with what you guys, I ran across people out there. That's what they want to do. They want to go out and they do it as a hobby. They get together and it's a social thing. Then you got people like you guys are actually trying to get answers and get facts and stuff like that. And then you got the other group. I want to make money off of this. I want my own cable channel.
Yeah, it's very true, and it's also very sad. I mean, granted, the paranormal shows are extremely popular today, and there's more and more of them coming out. But the odds of actually achieving one and having it successfully green-lighted and hitting a network and surviving more than 6 episodes, it's a long shot. So if that's their goal, I wish them the best of luck, but that's much easier said than done.
Well, I actually had a guy that was going to come on my show, but then he decided not to. Now, he was on one of the major cable networks with a ghost show. One of not the original one, but one of the ones very close to the original one. And it was a very popular show. He finally got fed up and he quit because he got tired, and he was the main star of the show. And if I mentioned his name, you'd know who he was instantly. He got so tired because they would go out, and 9 out of 10 times, he said, they would go out and investigate and come back with nothing. Oh. And because, like he said, you can't go out to a place every single time and come back with proof. The network told him, go back and fake it and bring it back by tomorrow. And he finally got tired of it because he's actually, was trying to prove that these things exist. This is real. But the network was pressuring him to falsify and come up with, phony stuff so they could just make their money off the network, off of it.
Yeah. The one thing you got to remember about paranormal television shows, don't get me wrong, we love them, but they're for entertainment. And one of the other problems today is that a lot of the new people, the good thing that paranormal TV has done is that it's opened up the public to the thought of it. Now, that's a plus. The bad part is that the people who want to try it have a very big misconception about how it actually works and happens. In a 42-minute show, you're not going to get the kind of evidence that's shown on TV because that took them a lot longer than 42 minutes if they caught it at all. But we've gone out nights and not caught anything the entire night. And then we've gone other times and caught something the first 5 minutes, but it's not consistent. You can't make it happen on command. There's no control over it. It happens when it happens, and that's end of story.
Oh, so well put. And like he said, he just got tired of the pressure of the network telling him, hey, you have to have it. Now, I can see it is entertainment. What I do is entertainment. It is because I don't go out and look for UFOs. I don't go out and look for ghosts. I sit in a chair and I ask people questions. It's purely entertainment. Sometimes I wonder if the guest I have is telling the truth. But again, I leave that up to the listeners to make that decision. Duh.
Yep. Yep.
So
very true.
What are your guys' plans coming up this spring and summer and all that stuff? Where you going to be going to any place exciting?
Yeah, we have a couple of them scheduled already. February, we're heading to the Boulder Dam Hotel in Boulder City, outside of Las Vegas. This place supposedly has a phenomenal reputation for being haunted. They don't like to talk about it, and in fact, they've told all their employees not even to mention it. If a guest even asks anything about paranormal activity, they were basically told to respond, nope, nothing here. But we know that's not true. And we know we're going to have to be somewhat secretive on this particular investigation, just to keep it quiet and keep things sane. But there's supposed to be quite an active array of paranormal activity that occurs there, everything from voices to full-bodied apparitions. So that's one of them we've got planned for 2020. And then the other one we just booked in April is the 1886 Crescent Hotel in
Arkansas.
Yeah.
Eureka, Arkansas.
Yeah, Eureka, Arkansas. And they claim to be the most haunted hotel in America. They embrace the paranormal activity that happens there. So we booked 4 days there, and we are going to scope that place out from top to bottom and hit it with every piece of equipment we have and bring back everything we can capture.
Oh, wow. Now, if it's any place in the world you could go ghost hunting, both of you guys, what place would it be?
Wow, that list would be so difficult for me. It would take me days just to narrow it down to one. But there are places I have not been that I know have intriguing history and historical places. Of course, the Europe, the UK, you've got, instead of a building being 100 years old, you can have buildings that are 500 years old. And the amount of history that has occurred while that building stood is something we can't compare with here. Mm-hmm. So, some of the old castles and some of the old churches that are still standing in Europe, would love to be able to get over there. And I'm sure we will, because once we started, when we did the Diplomat, that was the first thing we said is, okay, we got a whole bunch of other countries we need to hit. So
we also have one, Waverly Hills. That's what we...
Oh, yeah. Waverly Hills is the one US one big bucket place that is still on our bucket list. Although we were looking at, July for that one of this year. So hopefully we'll get that one in this year and get that one off the list. But I would definitely...
say hi to James in Ohio.
Oh, yeah. But
stop by.
I would definitely...
Yeah. Hey, we need to go. Hey, do you guys want to hang around for about another 15 minutes after the break? Because I know James has a lot of questions to ask you guys. And,
Uh-oh.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, watch out for James. I'll tell you that. Sometimes he can be, evil. We'll be back in about 2.5 minutes. You're listening to Night Dreams Talk Radio. We're talking to Tony and his lovely wife about ghost hunting, some of their experiences and all that. If you had a chance to go ghost hunting, where would you go? Contact me at nightdreamstalkradio@gmail.com. We'll be back, in about 2 minutes.
You and I, living in the strangest of times, on my hill, watching while the cities rise from the collapse that we left when the sun beat it down to the valley. Of time.